everyone. I'm Suara, and I'm so excited today to be talking with a very good friend, Kurt G. I'm just gonna say, and having this conversation about the Akashic records, about channeling. I'm not sure what's about to come forward, but let's dive right in. Hi, Kurt, and welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here. I don't know how to introduce you. Can you tell us a little bit more about yourself, maybe?
Well, I've always been fairly reserved, kept to myself. All my life, I have been plagued with uh, spirit communicating with me. Didn't know how to deal with that or what to do with it because my family didn't have the same problems. I'll call them problems because it was a problem. Um, but as I got older, I got at points in time in my life. I'm just going to say spirit would communicate with me more directly, harder, trying to get my attention, which made things more difficult. So I tried to shut it off, turn it off. And finally, in my older age now, um, I've just had a few events that has told me that no, that's not what's going to happen. I'm going to open up to this and do what I'm supposed to do. So that's kind of where I'm at. Met Swara months ago, watched her online, felt a connection. So set up an appointment and been working with her for the last few months. And it's helped me out quite a bit to put things into perspective, to get some of the things cleared from me so I have a clearer mind, better connection, better communication. And now I'm comfortable with myself and the communication that I get. I don't question anymore. I just go with it. Sometimes it's pretty strong, other times it's a little weak, but it really depends on the message that Spirit wants to send send through me.
Yeah, yeah, beautiful. And Kurt, it's been a pleasure and an honor to work with you these last few months. For the audience out there, Kurt is connected in a very big way with his guides, with other spirits that come through, with energies, source energy, and he is able to connect in with that, channel information, channel energies, and is just a really awakened soul, a powerful spiritual being here. And we're so very lucky to have him share his words, his thoughts, and the information that's coming through. Kurt is very connected. So, Kurt, I know your guides are present, the angels are present. Is there any message that they want to share today?
The biggest message right now is that we're all in this together, and the more that we work with each other in a positive way to bring up the positive energy, positive vibration, is really the one of the most critical aspects of life on this planet for the human beings right now.
Yeah. And would you say that's in particular for right now, this present moment in history?
So repeat that again.
Would you say that's something that's uniquely specific to right now in history?
Okay, yeah, I understand what you're saying now. It is, but I need to explain because it always has been, but um, we're kind of on the cusp of change. Can go either this way or that way. So it's a scale. So yeah, it is important, most important at this time due to the fact that it's at a tipping point and it can go either way. And I'm not going to say what happens if it goes this way or this way, but it needs to go one direction.
Yeah.
So by bringing up the vibration and the love and the light and caring for one another,
Yeah.
that is the most important thing right now.
Yeah. Beautiful. Um, and how do you think we can do that to bring in the love and caring for people?
You know, it it's a lot more subtle than what people think, because a lot of times people think they need to get out and do something directly. It's just how we interact with each other, how we interact with strangers, and holding that care and concern and love and compassion in our hearts.
Yeah.
It has a lot to do with that. So it's not going out and seeking somebody to help. It's just being that way. And if you do need to help somebody, then you will. If you don't have that part of that compassion and the wanting to be that way, when the time comes to help somebody, you'll miss it, because instead of, you know, looking at somebody that cuts you off in traffic and cursing at them, you now see it with compassion and realize that that person's really struggling and had a hard time. They didn't see you. It wasn't done on purpose, vicious act. So it's those kinds of things that bring up this vibration. Those simple, subtle little things like that. Seems simple and subtle, they're very impactful on this vibration, this
Yeah.
frequency.
Yeah. I love how simple it can be. The way that you're describing it, it can be simple, it can be subtle. Um, but if we ourselves are driving in the other car and we're not in that mindset and we take it as, oh, we curse the other driver, um, how can we better prepare ourselves so that we can be in that moment and access the love, the
Compassion is the word that comes, understanding. Get out of, see, a lot of this anger, when somebody does that, comes from our own selfishness,
Mm,
our own selfish thoughts of that triggers this negative thought. So, because we're always, it seems like anymore, looking for the bad or the negative, the wrong, and we're right.
mm,
So it doesn't really matter if we're right or not. It matters of helping somebody.
yeah.
And would you do that to your elderly mother if she cuts you off in traffic? No, you'd go, oh, she's got glaucoma and she's struggling right now, and she had a bad day because she has to go to the doctor. Her heart's, and you'd be compassionate. That is what we need to show towards everyone and hold in our hearts. Just, if you can imagine what it would be like to if everybody smiled at each other every day, the interaction, going to the grocery store, uh, waving to people as you drive by,
Yeah.
that would change that entire frequency of this wanting to fight and getting mad at people when they make a mistake. So in just those little things, and that's what I call it frequency, just brings us to a better, higher level of intellect and intelligence.
Yeah. I love that. And I can actually feel the energy of that. And I'm wondering if we can just settle into that energy just for a moment and breathe in the compassion that we all have inside of us that we can access right now, no matter what's going on. Beautiful. So I thought it was interesting when you were describing the time that we're moving into a time of change, transition, and that there are different paths in front of us. Um, so we still have an opportunity to choose which path. We have free will and choice. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Do we have free will and choice? What makes the difference?
Yes, we do have free will and choice. We know that. We've had it immediately upon coming here, and we do know that. Um, Part of the energy that has to evolve, it evolves with us as we grow from being a baby into adulthood. And for some reason, it has to evolve that way. I can't tell you why. It's just it makes it stronger and it makes it truth. It's truth. It's truth. It's so therefore it's correct, and that's how it changes things. Um, it doesn't necessarily make sense to me, so I don't really know exactly what I'm saying or what they're trying to get across. But the free will is the biggest part of life here. We have to have it, otherwise it makes no change. We were all given a specific direction. We all had to follow that and do that. The frequency would not rise, it would stay the same. So therefore, we have to have free will. We have to experience death. We have to experience happiness. We have to experience all these things. Otherwise, it's meaningless. I've had to cross that understanding myself, because a lot of this doesn't make sense. So that's the best way that the words come to make sense of free will and why good and bad happens. And we do have complete free will. We do know, and I'd like to say instinctually, but that's probably not the correct word, innately inside of our souls that are here with us, we know what correctness is and what right is, just because we have that in us. We don't always choose it. So because of the free will, and part of that holds us back on this timeline, but timelines are confusing because it doesn't really matter how long it holds us back. But then you say, okay, we're at a tipping point, so that's time. It's beyond time. It's also it's a tipping point because of the energies, the frequencies that are building here on Earth. So if I could say, it can only build so much before the scales tip. You can't have any. I don't know if that makes sense, but we're at that point. So, and I don't want to say it's negative and positive energy. I don't want to say that. I don't want to say it's good. I don't want to say it's bad, or great, or negative, or it's just energy that's at a tipping point. And in my vision, or what the information I get, it's best if it goes a certain way, not the other. If it goes the other way, it doesn't mean that eventually it won't go this other way, but things will drastically change. Either way, things are going to drastically change, but the one direction kind of sends us backwards and we start over again. And it's not that we completely start over again, it just slows us down.
Yeah, beautiful. So, in this evolution of consciousness as a group, a humanity, do you feel like then we're heading in a particular direction? Whether we backslide a little or just keep on moving forward, are we heading somewhere with purpose? Is this part of a big plan?
Yeah, there's, big plan isn't the best verbiage for it. I don't know what the best verbiage for it is. But yes, there is a direction we need to go. And it is, if you want to say, part of the plan, or that's just the way we know that is correct for, I'm going to say, for love and light. Then this is the way we need to go. If we go this way, then it backs us up millions of years before we get to this point where we're tipping again. And I don't know if that's the best analogy, but
Beautiful.
And it's interesting because I don't get the information of which way it's going to tip,
Yeah.
because the feeling that's put on me is that it can go either way. So it's interesting because you would think that there would be a knowing from source that it will go like this. But I'm sorry to say I don't, it's not quite like that.
Powerful. So, this is a really important time. It's a tipping point, and as much as we can bring our focus to love, compassion, light, um, that really is a vibrational state that we can put ourselves in, and that is maybe the best thing that we can do. And it's so simple and subtle.
That is correct. It seems so simple and so easy to do, but just have somebody cut you off in traffic and we'll see how quickly you go back to that anchor again.
We are human, yeah, for sure.
Yes, so it's rising above, if you will, the humanness of this world and stepping into the pure light and love and compassion for other beings.
Yeah, beautiful. So, switching gears just a little bit, I hope it's okay if I share that we all have star seeds, and your star seed is a very unique one. So, I wanted to talk about it a little bit. You are a parallel, meaning that you do exist across many dimensions simultaneously, parallel dimensions. So, how does that feel like for you? How do you experience that part of yourself that is actually existing in multi dimensions right now?
Well, I would first say that it's extremely confusing and I wouldn't recommend it for anyone.
Yeah, yeah, I can
It's
imagine.
taking me all my life to get to this point, and Suara has helped me get to this point. So, and within months, things have drastically changed for me understanding. So, how it's like is if you don't have any understanding of this, then you live your life with a lot of confusion. You don't understand the feelings, the visions, the dreams. Um, so, with the understanding, I can put it into perspective. Um, so, putting into perspective, mainly, it gives me more information to pull. So, I have in my memory banks, it's like shelves and shelves of books that I can pull from. And in those books, I get a lot of my information from emotion. So I can get a crash course on something through emotion and visions and knowings. So that is difficult because even though it may be somebody else's or some other time visions and emotions, now that it becomes mine. So now that's a memory. So it's an actual thing that has happened to me or may as well happened to me.
Mm.
Um, and I've asked, what good is it? What good is it for me is it is made me a lot deeper person, emotional and caring, compassion. So I have a lot more resources to pull on to keep me in that zone now, and I understand that. But as far as being a parallel and being in different places all at the same time where my soul is, those places and those times are simply that, and that's I'm doing gathering information and doing work in those places as well. So it's, I'm just able to do a lot more by being that way than if I was in one place at one time. So do I understand the complete amount that I'm actually doing? I can't, no, I don't. So I focus on what I can do here and what comes to me here. And it all falls back to the love and compassion for the beings that live here. So
Yeah, beautiful.
So anyway, I don't know if that really explains too much about what a parallel is, other than I wouldn't recommend it. I don't know why I am that way, but
Yeah.
uh, it's nice that I'm getting some things figured out later in my life. So
Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah. In my practice, I haven't run into too many parallels, so I do think it's a rather rare, very rare thing out there. But it's great to hear your perspective and your experience of it. So you bring in a lot of information and you're channeling, you're downloading downloads of feeling, of knowing, of visions and seeing. And where is this coming from?
you know, I get information from uh, past people or souls that have passed away. Um, People that I have never met before. I get information from people's souls that are still living right now. I can communicate with them. Um, I get a lot of communication from I'm going to say from guides, and not all just my guides, but any other guides that are want to give information to me through other people, or from other parallel, if you will, universes or places of living and being. Um, I get information from my own soul, and that seems probably a little odd, but I can't explain how the souls work. There's a if I have a main soul in one spot, and then that soul gives soul energy to each of my parallel beings in different places that I run on, but um, I understand the difference between that energy from that information, that energy. I call it the information is energy. You feel it differently from different people or different souls.
Yeah.
And then angels and those beings will communicate with me as well, along with the higher, all the source energy. Um, but as you get, if you wanted to communicate with the pure source energy, that it's not possible because it's too much energy, and you wouldn't just simply wouldn't survive it, because that's what I'm told. Because I wanted to have communication with that.
Yeah.
So not now for me. Um, but that's where I get my information from, all sources.
Yeah.
And right now I have my eyes closed a lot because that's just kind of what happens. And I have lots of information coming from, like before we started the session, it just feels like there's lots of beings just hovering above me, waiting to interject and pass on information. So and with so much, it becomes um, a little distracting and difficult as well.
Yeah, I can imagine. It sounds like from all those different places that you described, that's a packed room that you're in right now. It's full of many spirits and beings of light that want to come in and have something to say.
It is, and a lot of times, they are here and waiting. I've One thing I've learned in the last couple months is I want all this information now. I want all this now. And since there is a timeline here on Earth, sometimes right now is not the time.
Mm.
So even though you want it now, you have to wait for the events in life to unfold, and then that information can be presented to you. And then the reason it has to be at that time is because if it came sooner, whether you're asking for it or not, you wouldn't have the understanding or impact that it should have until all things line up correctly for it to be presented.
Yeah, yeah, beautiful.
Mm.
So it sounds like the system has its own, timer going off, and when the situation becomes ripe, and the factors are fertile for that moment to happen, it sounds like that's when it comes forward.
Yes, there is a correct time for it,
Yeah.
and all things have to be in line for it. You can be in line and ready, and you're going to have to wait until everything else gets in line for that. Doesn't matter how impatient you are, because I've been very impatient,
Yeah.
frustrating, but patience is something you have to learn as well.
So there's a part of us that is infinite and connected to that infinite place where all knowledge, all connection, all love exists, all light. But we decide to come here and incarnate and come into the limitation, to the separation of who we truly are, the separation even of time, moment by moment. We want to engage in time. So, speaking of time, why do you think that is? Why do you think we decide to come into this place where we have amnesia and we're engaging in time and separation?
Because it would completely ruin the experience, for one thing. If it's like uh, going on a ride for the first time, you don't know what's around the next corner. So it's new, it's exhilarating, and there's a lot to be learned
Yeah,
before that corner, in the corner, and after the corner.
yeah,
If you come into it knowing all this, there's no reason to go through the corner.
yeah,
It's it doesn't build the energy, the frequencies that we need to. If we come into this all knowing, yeah, so we come into it. We do have knowing and decisions that we make when we come in and are born into this world. But once we're born into this world, then we're starting from a clean slate.
beautiful.
I just got to take a moment. It's just extremely important to live this experience, to grow from this life experience, and understand the love and compassion that we need to get from this experience to pass that on. And again, it just would not be if we had that knowledge. There'd be no reason to do this if we had that knowledge. We'd gain nothing from it. The universe would gain nothing from it.
Yeah, yeah, powerful message. Great reminder to really seek out that love, reach out for that love and that light for ourselves to learn and to grow in this experience.
And it is very important to realize that it's not just here on Earth, it's the entire universe, the entire known existence of all.
Yeah,
And I can't wrap around my mind around that because it's too big, but that is how it is.
that's powerful. Is there anything else that the guides want to let us know today?
I'm just seeing a lot of light, so really bringing in the light
Yeah,
and concentrating on light and bettering, not bettering ourselves. It's raising the vibration, the frequency to the higher light
yeah,
is is the message. And how we get there is through love and compassion and care and concern and patience for everyone.
So let's just tap into that energy now. Do it together. Because where two or more are gathered, Spirit, Source, God will meet us there. And so if we can drop into our hearts and into our bellies and breathe in the love, focus in on the light, amplify the light, turn it on, turn up the dimmer switch of light in your heart, emitting from your entire being out to the world, peace, compassion, love. And know that your soul is working through you to bring more light and love in the world. Source is available to you to bring more light and love in the world. And it's through our choice. And right now we choose to focus in on compassion, forgiveness, connection with other people. We release and let go of right and wrong, the blame game, black and white. Just let it all go. Let go of the judgment, the hurt, and focus in. Raise your gaze to light, love, God, Source. Raise that vibration. And know that I'm sitting here, you're sitting there, we're all connected, creating a matrix of light around the whole planet right now. And we're so very grateful to be this beacon of light. We thank all the angels and guides for their assistance. And so it is. Amen.
I'd
Beautiful.
also like to add that we all have a role to play in this, and there isn't one that's more important than the other.
Yeah.
So if you think that you can only spread a little bit of what's called love and light and compassion, that's not correct. Just because it may seem like somebody else is doing more, it's not correct.
Beautiful. Thanks for that reminder. Kurt, it's always a pleasure to talk with you. And I hope that we can have more of these conversations. And I hope everybody joins in and watches all these conversations and taps into more of that love and light and the wisdom you have to share. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
See another inspiring interview with Kurt or discover more at akashicrecords.com. Unlock your true potential today.